Hey everyone, my name is Valerie Beausoleil from the Beausoleil Realty Group at Keller Williams. I am here today to talk with Stephanie Anderson, friend of mine who is from Atlantic Bay Mortgage, and she is going to talk to us a little bit about things in the mortgage industry. Stephanie, will you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, thank you so much for having me. Again, I'm Stephanie Anderson. I'm a producing sales leader and mortgage loan officer with Atlantic Bay Mortgage. Been with Atlantic Bay for about a year. Have been licensed and originating mortgage for about 18 years. I am licensed in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. I can help you with a purchase or a refinance, as well as a primary residence, a second home like a beach house or a mountain house, and even an investment property.
Awesome. So today I think we are going to talk about when to apply for a mortgage. I get this question a lot with my first-time home buyers,
Yes.
and they don't really understand the importance of their pre-approval. So if you would talk a little bit about when the appropriate time is for them to apply.
Yes, absolutely. So what a great question. The time to apply for a mortgage is now. Literally now, no matter what the circumstances are now. And what I mean by that is if you're interested in purchasing a home, typically the realtor is going to want to know that you are pre-qualified. That's for a couple different reasons. And I'm sure, Valerie, you can touch on that a little bit, but one, for safety reasons, right? They want to ensure that they are actually taking someone out to a home that is wanting to purchase a home. And additionally, for the seller oftentimes has a requirement, right? They don't want people just coming in their house, walking around, checking it out. They want to ensure that they are serious potential buyers.
Exactly.
So before necessarily, you might not even have spoken to a real estate agent yet. That's okay. Contact a loan officer and go ahead and make your application for a mortgage so that you can be prepared. You can get your pre-qualification in place, speak to the real estate agent, and you're already on the ground ready to go look at houses when you talk to the real estate agent. I find oftentimes what happens is people put that step off. Well, I want to wait until I find a house of interest. I want to wait until I find a house of interest. But what ends up happening to them is that they wait until they find that house of interest. They love it. They fall in love with it. And now they need a pre-qualification immediately. Most oftentimes a pre-qualification is not something that can necessarily be provided immediately. It takes lots of research and digging into that loan and that scenario of that buyer to ensure that if we're telling them they're qualified, they genuinely are qualified. And then the second reason I was saying that is that even if you're not planning on purchasing until maybe 6 months from now, maybe a year from now, why would it be important that you went ahead and applied now? The reason for that is, in my opinion, being prepared. So I could go ahead, pull your credit, look at your loan scenario today. Again, even if you're not ready to buy until 6 months or a year, but that way, if I see any potential obstacles in that scenario, we have the next 6 months to work through that so that when you're ready to buy, bam, we've got all of the work already in place and you're not having to wait another 6 months from that point when you were actually ready to buy because we've already done the legwork on it.
And I have seen that happen to people. They think that they're qualified and then boom, there's a problem. And then they can't buy the house that they thought they could because they weren't pre-qualified before we were looking. The other thing that I hear people say is, oh, I've been told that it only lasts for 30 days or 45 days. Tell me a little bit about how long that pre-approval lasts.
Yeah, great question. Again, so your credit report is generally good with your lender for 120 days. So if you close on your purchase transaction within 120 days from the date that that original credit report was pulled, typically a new credit report does not have to be pulled. Okay. So the general answer to your question is about 120 days. Now, with that being said, certain documents in the file expire. So, for example, pay stubs, bank statements. Those can be no older than 45 days in the file. So we may have to update a couple of documents like pay stubs and bank statements, but your pre-qualification, can still continue with that same credit report in place. If there were any changes in your employment, you quit your job, you got a new job, you liquidated your bank account, etc., we need to talk about that because that changes your pre-qualification.
Yes. And what if we don't find a house in that 3-month period? As you know, the market is devoid of good quality homes at this time. We have a very low inventory, and if it takes us longer than 3 months, what happens then?
Yeah, no worries. We get right back in there, update that credit report, update any necessary documentation. We already have the bones of your loan in place. So it's really just updating those few items. Should be fairly minimal work on the buyer's part. Like I said, providing a few updated documents, but outside of that, we've got the bones in there.
Okay, excellent. Well, I want to keep this short and sweet. I don't want to take too much of your time. Thank you, Stephanie, for coming on here today and talking with us a little bit about the mortgage industry and when it is the appropriate time to apply for a mortgage. If somebody is looking to apply for a mortgage, please reach out to Stephanie. How can they reach you?
Yes, definitely. Please do. You can reach me directly at 336-456-9374. You're also welcome to email me at stephanieanderson@atlanticbay.com. Thank you again for having me. Look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you.